In China, Wuhan Tzu Chi volunteers carry out disaster relief for the flood survivors. Take a look at Taiwan's domestic drug abuse problems among the younger generations. Selamat datang ke DaAi Headlines, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. Welcome to DaAi Headlines, I'm Simon Gan. Thank you for joining us. Hubei Province in China was affected by the continuous rainfall in these 2 months, causing severe flooding in Honghu City. The floodwater in several villages did not retreat and crops were damaged, and the people could not return home. After receiving calls for help, Wuhan Tzu Chi volunteers immediately started damage assessment and disaster relief, completing the task within 96 hours, alleviating the crisis faced by the 249 flood-affected families. Let's take a look.
大的时候划船才能进得来，这根本都看不到庄稼，就是一片都是水的，一片都是水，根本都看不到东西。
As the torrential rain eased slightly, Tzu Chi volunteers in Wuhan went to Donghe community to assess the damage. Stagnant water like this almost everywhere in the village. Civil affairs officials guide volunteers to visit the affected residents.
哦，您这上面堆的是什么呀？ 被套。
The two seniors of the Zhu family lived in a simple brick house. When the heavy rain came, the house kept leaking water continuously, and this has lasted for several days already.
那边塘里的水不可以吃啊！刚刚厂长说有干净的水，您还是用干净的水。
是，他就给我绑人4桶或者。
对他给你绑人4桶，对，
后悔再走返回来。
对。
Another household was a mother and son. The house was flooded and the water had not yet retreated. The local official was worried about their safety and evacuated them to a safe place to stay temporarily.
You see the soaked area all peeled off. Do you see that? If the mother and son of this low-income household continue to stay here, the consequence is disastrous if the house collapses. So we dare not let them stay here anymore.
After assessing disaster damage, volunteers immediately obtain the list of the affected residents and proceed with the purchase and packing of aid supplies.
Flood-affected residents are in a worse condition than me. At least I still have a clean place to stay, and the drinking water is also very clean. I want to contribute my little part to help them.
2 aid distributions were carried out the day after the materials were packed. Every household could get cash assistance and a package of living necessities.
Because this money and supplies will be used up one day, but this love will always exist in our heart. I believe the love is also inside your heart. I believe it not only warms your body, but also your heart, right?
The flood is temporary and it will definitely pass. We need to be confident.
After the 96-hour damage assessment and disaster relief, volunteers pay home visits immediately, hoping that their warmth can be kept in the hearts of the affected residents forever.
There is a grandma in Tainan who suffers from toe necrosis and amputation due to diabetes. Terima members have been visiting her for a very long time. In addition to providing medical assistance, they also help her cut hair and talk with her about her daily life, hoping to send love and care to every patient's home.
Helping Grandma get a haircut with a razor is an agreement between Terima members in Tainan and the seniors. In addition to providing medical assistance, humanitarian medical care is the main goal.
In fact, I have a deep feeling in every medical outreach. I feel blessed when I see the suffering. When I meet the elders, I also think of my parents. I think there are many remote areas to which we need to visit.
Terima members changed dressing for the grandma with toe amputated carefully and then chat with her about daily routine. Although her memory is gradually deteriorating, her gratefulness is still deep in her mind.
When we come again this year, her dementia condition is getting worse. But the most touching thing to me is that every time when we leave, she still says thank you to us. Being able to leave the clinic where I work and come to care for our folks, I think this is the most touching and happiest moment to me.
Dr. Ye Taiyuan, who treats patients as family members, has been involved in medical outreach for more than 20 years. He walks into many communities, hoping to bring medical care to patients' home.
Masayu was born with a hearing impairment which hindered her knowledge of the world for more than 10 years. As her hearing deteriorated, she also found it hard to speak. Her mother wanted to buy her an artificial electronic ear but didn't have the money. Fortunately, through the help of Tzu Chi volunteers, this little girl could hear the beauty of the world.
Mama, mouse, salah. Mama, mama.
This 11-year-old girl, Masayu, suffers from hearing impairment, has been wearing hearing aids since she was a child. She cannot naturally hear the sounds of the world. Her hearing has deteriorated for the past 2 years, and a doctor suggested replacing an artificial electronic ear. However, her family is poor and they have trouble paying for medical expenses, as her mother later applied for a subsidy from Tzu Chi.
I never thought that the medical fees would be so expensive. Fortunately, we're able to form a good relationship with Tzu Chi.
Masayo has been able to be outfitted with an electronic ear and now actively receives speech training with her mother's assistance. The long road from silence to sound has her mother's expectations and Tzu Chi volunteers' care.
Because she'll be able to call for her mother and father, but her words were not very clear. Now that she has the artificial electronic ear, her pronunciation has improved.
Artikulasinya mulai berkembang, mulai bagus. Mama, ayah.
Seeing Masayu's mother take care of her really touched me. I also encouraged them to be patient and face tough challenges.
Although it is impossible for her to say a whole sentence, Masayu's insistence on speaking has been shown through her gestures.
Mom, thank you. I love Tzu Chi.
The epidemic in Singapore worsened recently. An isolation center in Tuas has been operating since May and was visited by Tzu Chi volunteers a week before opening. Walls are posted with Jingsi aphorisms and people at the center were given proper care. Tzu Chi volunteers' love and care have warmed the hearts of the isolation center staffs.
Tzu Chi volunteers have been constantly supplying the isolation center with food and tea since May.
I'm very touched. It really helped us.
Thanks for the help. It is very encouraging. I really appreciate the supplies.
These seemingly small deeds are actually very impactful. When someone needs help and you give them tea, the interaction is beyond words.
People felt our sincerity after our consistent involvement.
And I think it's a little bit a contribution to those who are working here at the front directly and who has to go into the red zone. And I think this is helpful to support those who do the job.
Jingsi aphorisms posted on walls provides a source of energy.
Smile at the mirror for the mirror image to smile back. This is right. As many people work as a team here, this is very important.
When everyone's tired, the post on the wall provides help and comfort.
Amazing, which is something which we really need, and lend a support to the operations indirectly by providing a soft touch. They really took good care of us, to be honest. And I think this is definitely something which we should, honestly, from the bottom of our heart, we should appreciate. Thank you very much.
The help and care from volunteers warmed the hearts of the people at the center. Although the service ends in July, people remember the love and warmth.
Many seniors are living alone because their children are off working elsewhere. This will cause their living environment to have hidden dangers, like insufficient lighting or bathroom without handrails. Tzu Chi Charity Foundation helped 3 grandmas in Yunlin districts to improve their living safety. Let's join them there.
Grandma Honghu is 91 years old and lives alone. There's only a washing machine next to the toilet for her to hold on to. There's no light at night and she had to walk in the dark. Her living environment has many hidden dangers. Not only has the bathroom been improved, the stair next to the entrance was also had a handrail installed so she can live in a safe environment. Another grandma, Yan-Ling Chao, is 70 years old and her knee was injured. A social worker from a foundation made an assessment and a handrail for the grandma was installed.
Some countryside areas were still using old-style toilets, so we turned them into modern ones. In the living room, we installed some lighting and we dismantled some bathtubs and toilets. We can still undertake more considerations.
We hope her children out there can feel confident that their grandma is safe at home.
In Yunnan District, many solitary seniors like them needed someone to solve their living issues. The social workers work with the borough heads to find the seniors in need of help.
Nomadic drug users are becoming younger and younger. A survey found out that the age when people first experienced drugs under the age of 30 accounted for about 67%. And the most common drugs encountered are synthetic drugs, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and amphetamines. In recent years, drug dealers have packaged these drugs in coffee bags, milk tea bags, and candy to attract young people. Unfortunately, these drugs can cause serious harms to the body's central nervous system. Let's take a look.
Taking ketamine from a coffee pouch is something that many of my friends do when we are together.
The psychedelic lights of nightclubs and KTVs have become the places where teenagers are the most exposed to drugs. New synthetic drugs are packed in coffee or tea pouches or disguised as jelly and chocolate. They are really just sugar-coated poisons.
These new drugs, on the one hand, are relatively cheap, and the packaging is quite attractive to young people. And in this way, some people are mistakenly exposed to drugs.
Large quantities of drugs possessed by drug dealers are distributed to places where youth congregate throughout Taiwan. A survey found that the average age for first-time drug use is getting younger, with some 66.7% of people getting exposed under the age of 29. The suspicious packages and powder found by the police at nightclubs found that almost all of them were new emerging drugs.
You can see this reagent can detect many drugs such as morphine, ketamine, and MDMA.
Designer drugs are generally synthetic drugs that are level 2 or 3 drugs such as amphetamines, ecstasy, and ketamine.
What kind of drugs do I take? I take ketamine and amphetamine.
These drugs contain a lot of stimulants and inhibitors for the central nervous system and can make people feel excited or inhibit some nerve function. So of course, this will cause serious damage to the body.
The number of deaths associated with synthetic drugs has risen sharply. From 2015 to 2019, the number of deaths reached 382 over this 5-year period. Forensic doctors found from their examination of bodies that there can typically be 4 different types of drugs in a body which cause sudden death. What is even more worrying is that the newly emerging domestic drug PMMA, known as super ecstasy, which can kill someone even if it's not mixed with other drugs. In the month of December 2019 alone, 27 people taking super ecstasy or PMMA died suddenly.
What found that PMMA is a component of these synthetic drugs and is suddenly leading to an increase in deaths.
Within 5 months, 51 people died from taking PMMA. The average age of death was 27.8 years.
PMMA toxicity is 3 to 4 times that of MDMA or ecstasy, which can cause rapid death at once.
If a new drug is a synthetic, mixed formula drug, it is easy for them to change the chemical formula, and the drug dealer can evade governmental regulation in an investigation.
More than 980 emerging designer or synthetic drugs have been discovered worldwide, but Taiwan only lists 348 of them. In the face of drugs that were not regulated by previous laws, the Ministry of Justice has recently made major amendments.
As long as it has same chemical structure for the drugs, we will classify it as a synthetic drug. It is not necessary to test every drug as it used to be before we declare it an illegal drug.
Newly emerging designer drugs are now being cracked down on by the government. At the same time, it's up to ourselves to eliminate the source and demand for drugs. Don't be curious to try and embark on the road of no return.
As a medical laboratory scientist, Tzu Chi volunteer Tan Sok Hui has been promoting a vegetarian lifestyle to her co-workers during the COVID-19 pandemic, inviting them to order vegetarian meals for lunch. Tan has also asked her co-worker Neo Yi Lei's mother to prepare vegetarian lunch meals for 5 Malaysian ringgits, which is approximately $1.17. Though Neo's mother has received the payment for the meals, she chooses to donate it to a charity organization to further accumulate blessings.
Enjoying a vegan meal together has become the new norm for this group of healthcare workers.
Actually, there are only 2 of us who are normally vegetarians, Anil and I. But every time we have vegetarian lunches, we will encourage everyone to join us.
Medical laboratory scientist Tan Sok Hui is a Tzu Chi volunteer and has been vegetarian for 15 years. Most recently, she began to promote the lifestyle to her co-workers due to the spread of COVID-19.
I'll share with them the benefits of vegetarianism, such as reducing greenhouse gas emission and how eating meat is the main cause of animals losing their lives.
Tan asked No Yi Lei to ask her mother, who has many years of experience making vegetarian meals, to make delicious lunches for co-workers.
My boss Tan Su Hui is very actively promoting vegetarianism normally, and on top of which the pandemic is widespread right now, so we are all very active in promoting vegetarianism. So I asked my mother about it and she said she could do it.
Che Gai Kim, who loves to cook, was happy to accept the mission. She makes each meal drool-worthy and only charges 5 Malaysian ringgits, which is a great value for the price.
I told them I don't need payment, but they wanted to reimburse me, so I accepted the money and will donate it to the charity organization.
After Che is finished cooking, No's brother will deliver the vegetarian meals to the hospital. It's been 4 months of this, and many of the medical laboratory scientists have a new outlook on vegetarianism.
Sometimes eating meat isn't so healthy, as much of the virus are meat-related and can pass on to us. It makes me kind of afraid to eat meat now. Actually, it's just another food. The most important is to have a balanced diet, which I can achieve through different vegetables. Eating veggies makes me feel healthier, more comfortable, so I eat more vegetables.
Although they eat meat, most of them gravitate towards vegetables. I will continue to spread the benefits of vegetarianism to them and hope that one day they will inspire to take on the lifestyle at least 2 days a week, or even better for the rest of their lives.
With 1 more person joining the vegetarian campaign, less animals are killed to satisfy one's stomach, which overall will help fight the pandemic.
As the pandemic is brought under control in Malaysia, the government has allowed schools to reopen but forbids students to eat in the cafeteria. As a result, students eat their meals in their classrooms. A parent gets up early every day to prepare vegetarian lunch boxes for his daughter. While this shows his love for his daughter, it also shows his determination to protect the earth.
As the pandemic in Malaysia is brought under control, the government allows high schools and elementary schools to resume classes. To maintain social distancing, the government forbids students to have meals in the cafeteria. As a result, the students eat lunch in their classrooms. Chu Yi-shi, who has been a vegetarian for 6 years, is enjoying a special lunchbox.
My parents think it is healthier to bring our own food. It is better to bring our own lunch boxes.
Chu Taxing runs a printing mode company, and he usually works from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Despite that, he still sacrifices his sleeping time to prepare vegetarian lunchboxes for his daughter.
Every day I get up around 5:45. Today I'm making pasta for my child. Every day I prepare different food. Sometimes I make multi-grain porridge. Sometimes I make noodles or rice.
As the head of the family, Chu Taxing is also the first person to promote vegetarianism within his family.
Since my wife and I joined Tzu Chi in 2014, we went through volunteer training and began to adopt a vegetarian diet. Then our child also embraces vegetarianism. For me, COVID-19 reminds us that the Master said time is running out. Many bacteria leads to illness because of what we eat. Only vegetarianism can lessen the infection caused by bacteria.
When my classmates see me bring lunch boxes, they envy me. I adopt a vegetarian diet so I can help protect the earth. When my classmates see my lunchbox, they also want to adopt a vegetarian diet.
The lunchbox prepared from Chu's father is filled with his love for his child, and it also shows his determination to protect lives.
The vegetarian night market has been kicking off in most cities in Taiwan. Last Saturday, an event was held at the Jingsi Hall in New Taipei City. The event promoted vegetarian snacks and light meals. Night market goers even brought their own containers in order to be eco-friendly. Let's join them there.
Japanese-style grilled mochi is crisp on the exterior and chewy on the interior, satisfying children customers. Egg yolk, powdered slurry, and mushrooms, with a touch of cabbage, makes a delicious fried vegetarian oyster. The vegetarian night market opens in front of the Jingsi Hall.
It is a worldwide trend to go vegetarian nowadays. We hope to promote vegetarianism to everyone through touring to different cities.
Event participants prepare reusable utensils and containers themselves, staying eco-friendly and promoting having mercy on animals.
There are many vegetarian-related videos where I see animals in cage. This makes me want to be a vegetarian.
No matter if it's human or animal, both are valuable lives. If we consume an animal, we harm it. This is why I can't bear with eating meat.
Our environment requires care. Vegetarianism helps with improving our surroundings.
In Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers provided second-hand laptops to disadvantaged children so that they can keep up with their academics who have converted into online learning due to the pandemic. We'll leave you with these images. Terima kasih dan selamat tinggal.